So let's talk about ACS or acute coronary syndrome. And don't leave. I know this is a topic we talk about a lot, but we're going to talk about some things you've never heard of before. We have to remember that this is a disease process where the heart is not perfusing, right? And there's three main ones we hear: a STEMI, NSTEMI, and unstable angina. So the biggest thing I want to talk about here is that a STEMI, NSTEMI, and unstable angina often get termed that they're three separate things, but they're really not. They're all occurring because of the same process. And that process is essentially that supply does not equal the demand for what the heart needs. So essentially, our heart's not perfusing, right? And you're like, yeah, I knew that. That's what ACS is. But we have to remember that these are all the same process. They're all the same issue going on. It's kind of just to the degree that they're going on to, right? And you're like, well, I also knew that a STEMI is worse than an NSTEMI, but do you know why? That's what we're going to talk about today. So this is the one I wanted to hit on the most with ACS. And this is the differences, right, between an NSTEMI, STEMI, and unstable angina. And the biggest thing I can tell you is that an NSTEMI means that obviously it's worse. We know that. But why it's worse is because we have went through all of the layers of the heart. And if you remember, there's three. We've went through all of the layers of the heart and they all have ischemia. So none of those are working, right? None of those are being perfused correctly, right? And you can see it. The term that we use for this is transmural. And you've probably heard of this, but it literally means it's through all of those musculature layers of the heart. So if you think of it, I kind of think of it as related to a muscle injury for an athlete, right? If I sprain my ankle, it's not great. I kind of relate that to an NSTEMI, but a STEMI means I actually tore that muscle, right? I have damage to that. So the NSTEMI, I've only went through maybe one or two layers. I'm not transmural. I'm not all the way through, but I have ischemia. It's just not all the way through those layers. Now, when we talk about unstable angina, this is different. Yes, I actually have a problem where I'm not perfusing that supply and demand. There's an issue, but it doesn't last long enough for ischemia to occur. And that's why you actually don't get a troponin rise when we have unstable angina. So these were a few things on ACS. Thanks for hanging with me. Let me know if you have any comments.